Hello students, welcome back to Accounting 1329, Payroll and Business Tax Accounting. This is Dr. Mercado speaking, and this week we are going to begin covering a brand new chapter. This is the final chapter for the semester. This is chapter 6, dealing with analyzing and journalizing payroll. Okay, just some general announcements. Please make sure that before you attempt any of your assignments, you read the chapter. Reading is critical to be able to understand the material being covered. Okay. Review all of the examples provided within your text, review your PowerPoints, listen to my lectures, review any of the Show Me How videos embedded within your actual homework problems, and then you can begin working on your weekly homework, which entails completing a quiz and a homework assignment, okay? If you have any questions, please contact me Monday through Friday. Please refer to your syllabus for my scheduled office hours, okay? If you have a question on a specific problem, please include the problem number. Okay, that way I know what you're working on and your attempted step-by-step solution so I can review what you're doing and provide guidance. Okay, so the first problem that we're going to be covering in this particular lecture is problem 6-5A. Okay, so in this problem we have Volcra Incorporated has a semi-monthly payroll of $67,000 on September the 15th. The total payroll is taxable under FICA taxes HI. Okay, $63,850 is taxable under FICA OASDI, and $10,300 is taxable under FUTA and SUTA. Okay, the state contribution rate for the company is 4.1%. The amount of withheld for federal income taxes is $9,911, and the amount withheld for state income taxes is $1,410. Okay. In the first requirement, we are being asked to journalize the payment of the wages and record the payroll taxes on September 15th. So we have to record the payment of the wages to our employees, and then on the separate line item, we have to record the payroll taxes that the employer has to pay for having these employees work for the company. Okay, so we have two separate entries that are going to be done for requirement A. Okay, so let's start off. These entries are as of September the 15th, okay? And I don't think they ask you for a date, but just so we can have here, usually we have a date associated with an account, and these are for the payment of wages for September the 15th, okay? So let's start off with journalizing the payment of wages. That's the first entry that we're going to do, okay? So what are we paying? We are paying wages, okay? How much are we paying in wages? Well, according to the problem, we have a payroll of $67,000. So this is wages expense. I don't know if they put expense on Cengage, but it is an expense because it's our wages for our employees, okay? If not, it's just wages for purposes of Cengage, okay? But it should be an expense account. It's wages expense, okay? And the amount of the wages is $67,000. And let me put some commas in here just so it can be clearer for me. There we go. Okay. So my wages expense is $67,000. That's how much my employees earned. Okay. Then I have to figure out how much am I going to take away? How much am I going to deduct from my employees' wages for the different taxes? Okay. So this is the amount that is being withheld from my employees' paychecks. Okay. So when we get paid, we get deducted a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, and we're like, well, what happened to my paycheck? You know, it all disappeared. Okay, the employer is responsible for withholding all of these taxes from the employees' paychecks, and then whatever is left over gets paid to the employees. Okay, so the first thing that we have to deduct are the FICA taxes. Okay, and we're splitting them up between OASDI and HI. Okay, so my FICA taxes for OASDI, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the calculations on the side, okay? So my FICA taxes for OASDI, okay? Now it says here that for OASDI, $63,850 is taxable under FICA taxes OASDI, okay? So we have to read the problem very carefully, okay? They give us a lot of numbers here. So we have to figure out, okay, what number should I be using for each of the calculations, okay? So for OASDI, it says that $63,850 is taxable, okay? So that is your taxable wages, okay? $63,850, okay? My OASDI rate, if we go back, I believe it's chapter 3, it talks about the OASDI rate being 6.2%. By now, you should know your OASDI rate, okay? We've already covered that in prior chapters, okay? So I'm going to get my taxable wages of $63,850 times my OASDI rate of 6.2%, and that gives me $3,958.70, okay? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put that into the account FICA taxes OASDI, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to credit that account the $39,58.70. Now, all of these accounts are payable accounts. What does that mean? That means that that money does not belong to us, to the company. All we're doing is we're withholding that money from the employees' paychecks. We're putting them into these accounts because we have to pay these taxes to different taxing entities. Okay, so when we have to pay these taxes, we just basically take the money out of these accounts and submit payment to these entities. So this money does not belong to the company. It's just we're holding it there so for when we have to file our different taxes. Okay. And because this is a credit, we should indent a little. Okay, there we go. Just so we can know it's a credit. Okay. Next, we have FICA taxes, HI. Okay. Now, for HI, it says that the total payroll is taxable under FICA taxes HI. The total payroll is $67,000. Okay. My HI rate is 1.45%. Okay. So let's get that 1.45%. So it's 67,000. That's the entire wages times 1.45%. That gives me 971.50. Okay, so we're gonna put that under the credit, 971.50. This is also a liability. Okay, we owe that money for FICA taxes HI. Okay, what else do we have to deduct? Okay, we also have to deduct the employee's federal income tax, and we're gonna put that into the payable account. Now, for the employee's federal income tax, they give you that amount. Okay. That amount is given to you in the problem. You don't have to do any calculations. That is given to you right there. Okay. Federal income taxes, $99.11. Okay. So I'm going to deduct that from my employees' paychecks. What else do we have? We have the employees' state income tax. Okay. We're going to put that into our payable. And the amount for state income taxes is also provided in the problem. Okay, state income tax is $14.10. Okay, so we don't have to do any calculations there. Okay, so those are the four taxes that they provide us here that we have to withhold from our employees. Okay, so I know that my employees earned $67,000. I know that I'm going to deduct all of these four taxes from their paychecks. So now I need to figure out, well, how much cash am I going to pay my employees? How much am I going to write the check for my employees? Okay. So I know that my employees earn $67,000. I'm going to deduct the $39,58.70 for my OASDI. Okay. I'm going to deduct the $971.50 for my HI. I'm going to deduct the $99.11 for my federal income tax, and I'm going to deduct my $14.10 from my state income tax. Okay, so the amount that's actually going to get paid to my employees is $50,748.80. Okay, that is the actual cash. We use the cash account because it's not that we pay our employees cash, but anytime that we pay our employees in any form, whether it be cash, direct deposit, check, we use our cash account because the money is being deducted from our bank account. Okay, so cash is going to be credited for the $50,748.80. Okay, so what happens? Your cash decreases because we're making a payment. Okay, to our employees. So cash is going to be decreased. Cash is an asset. The normal balance of an asset is a debit. So when we make a deposit, we debit. When we withdraw money, which is the case here, we're withdrawing money to pay our employees, we credit. Okay, so cash gets credited $50,748.80, so we can be able to issue out checks to our employees. Okay, remember, when we're doing transactions, it's very important that you make sure that your debits equal your credits. Okay, that is the golden rule. Okay, So after every entry, make sure that debits equal credits, which they do here. They're both 67,000, so we're good. We can move forward, okay? Just make sure that you remember debits must equal credits, okay? So that is the amount, that is the entry to record the payment of wages, okay? So this is letter A, the payment of wages. Now we also have to record our payroll taxes, okay? Now these are the taxes that the employer is responsible for, okay? Remember, the top part is what is being withheld from the employee's paycheck. Part B, which is the payroll taxes, this is the amount that the employer has to contribute for having these people as their employees. They have to pay taxes for these employees based on their earnings, okay? So the first entry is we're going to have payroll taxes, okay? And it's an expense. Like I said, I like to put the word expense because it's an expense to the business. In Cengage, I believe all they use is payroll taxes, okay? Regardless, it's correct. You should have a drop-down arrow and identify the account, but it should be payroll taxes, okay? I'm putting the word expense because it is an expense account, okay? So, payroll taxes. That should be the debit, okay? Now, I don't know what that amount is. I'm going to leave it blank, okay? I haven't figured out what my total payroll tax expense for this paycheck is. I'm going to leave it blank. But I know that payroll tax expense needs to be debited, okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to credit, okay, my different taxes, okay? So, what I'm doing is basically the money on top is being withheld from the employee's paychecks and it's being put into a whole bunch of payable accounts, okay? So this is the portion of taxes that is going to be paid by the employees. Now down here, I'm going to put into those same accounts, okay, my portion, the portion that the employer is responsible to pay. Because remember, taxes are paid, some of them by the employee, some of them by employer, some of them by both, okay? So these accounts are going to be used so we can figure out how much taxes is owed by the employer. Okay, so the first one we have is FICA taxes. FICA taxes. Oh, and over here I forgot to put the word payable. I was like, where is my payable account? So it's FICA taxes payable, OASDI, FICA taxes payable, HI. Okay, I was like, where is my word payable? All of these are payable accounts. Okay, so it's FICA taxes payable, OASDI, FICA taxes payable, HI, employees federal income tax payable, employees state income tax payable. Now this is for the employees only. The FICA taxes can be used for either the employee or the employer, okay? So we have FICA taxes payable. The employer has to pay FICA taxes and it's a match. Whatever the employee puts in, the employer puts in as well, okay? For the employer's portion of the FICA taxes for OASDI, we're going to do the same calculation, 63,850 times 6.2%, and that will give us the same amount up here, 39,5870. Okay. The employer also has to pay FICA taxes HI. So we have FICA taxes payable HI. Okay, and that is the same amount. It's the 67,000 67,000 times the 1.45%. Okay, and then that will give us the same amount up here at 971.50. So these are repeats. Okay, the employer has to pay 39.5870. The employee has to pay 39.5870. The employer has to pay 971.50. The employee has to pay 971.50. Okay, those two taxes are the same amount for the employees and the employer. Okay, now what else do we have to pay? Okay, the employer is responsible to pay for Pseudo taxes. Okay, so we have Pseudo taxes payable. Okay, now if we recall, when we covered our state and federal unemployment taxes, we know that here in the problem it says, let me see, it says that the payroll 10,300 is taxable for FUTA and SUTA. Okay, so 10,300 is taxable for FUTA and SUTA. Okay, so my taxable base is 10,300. My FUTA rate is 0.6%. Remember, it's 0.6 because the actual FUTA rate is 6%, and then we get a credit of 5.4, so that leaves me 0.6% FUTA rate. Okay, so that is covered in the chapter that deals with FUTA and Pseudo taxes. Okay, so we're gonna get the 10,300. Okay, 10,300 times my 0.6%, and that gives me 6180. Okay, so remember, all of these are payables. Normal balance of a payable is a credit. Okay, and then last but not least, we have our Pseudo Tax Payable. Okay, Pseudo Taxes Payable. Okay, for your Pseudo taxes, remember, 10,300 is taxable for FUTA and Pseudo, so that is my basis. And then my state contribution rate is 4.1%. Okay, the rate is given to you in the problem for your Pseudo tax. Okay, remember, this is the amount that is actually paid out to employees if they file for unemployment. Okay, so my taxable base is 10,300. I'm going to multiply it by my rate of 4.1% given in the problem. Okay, 10,300 times 4.1%. That gives me 422.30. Okay. Now that I have the four taxes that me, the employer, that we're talking about Volcra, have to pay, we can add them together to figure out what our payroll taxes expense is. So I know I have to pay $39.58.70 for OASDI, $971.50 for HI, $61.80 for FUTA, and $422.30 for SUTA. So that means that my payroll taxes expense is $5,414.30. Okay, $5,414.30, and then I can just plug it in, and that will be the amount of my payroll taxes expense. Okay, so these are the four taxes that the employer has to pay for having their employees work for them: OASDI, HI, FUTA, and SUTA. Okay, the top part is the amount that is being withheld from the employee's paychecks. The employee has to pay OASDI, HI, federal income tax, and state income tax. Okay, so those are the two entries for requirement A. Now for requirement B, it says that assume that the employees of Volcra must also pay state contributions, disability insurance of 1% on the taxable payroll of $62,100, and that the employee's contributions are to be deducted by the employer, which is what they are supposed to do. Journalize the September 15th payment of wages, assuming that the state contributions of the employees are kept in a separate account. Okay, so this is happening as of September the 15th. Okay. So in this case, they're only asking us to record the payment of wages, which is the top part here. Okay, they're not asking us to record the payroll taxes. All they're asking us is to record the payment of wages, assuming that the employees must also pay state contributions for disability insurance. Okay, so what are we going to start off with? We're going to start off with our wages expense. Okay, the amount of my wages according to the problem, that does not change. That is $67,000. Okay, now we start with our withholdings. Okay, we have FICA, taxes payable, OASDI, and we already calculated that before. That is your $63,850 times our 6.2%. That does not change, and that gives us $39.58.70. Same calculation is up here. Okay. Okay. We also have to withhold our FICA, taxes payable, HI. Okay. That will be the $67,000. All of the wages are taxable for HI times 1.45%. And that's going to give us $971.50. That has already been calculated in the previous exercise in requirement A. Okay. Now this is where we're going to have an additional deduction. We have the employee's disability contribution, and they're asking us to put the money in a different account. That's why we're creating a new account to take care of this deduction. Okay, They're telling us we have the disability insurance, and that disability insurance has to be put into a separate account. Okay, so my employee's disability contribution payable is going to be, and they give you an amount on the taxable payroll. This is the key. Okay, make sure that you read the problem carefully. For purposes of that 1%, the taxable payroll is $62,100. Okay, so for that 1% tax, we're going to base it off of 62,100 times 1%. Okay, so let's see what that gives us. That's 62,100 times 1%. That gives me $621. Okay, remember, all of these are payables. The normal balance of a payable is a credit. Okay, we're also going to deduct the employee's federal income tax payable. Okay, and that was given in the problem for 9911. You didn't have to do any calculations. That is given. And then we're also going to withhold from the employees state income tax payable. Okay, and the amount for state income tax is given in the problem of 1410. Okay, so here we go. Now we need to figure out how much cash do we have to pay our employees. Okay, so we have to figure out how much taxes we have to pay our employees. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get our calculators out. So we know that our employees earn $67,000. I'm going to deduct the OASDI of $3958.70. I'm going to deduct the HI of $971.50. I'm going to deduct the employee's disability insurance of $621. I'm going to deduct the federal income tax of $99.11, and I'm going to deduct the state income tax of $14.10. So that means that after all deductions, I'm going to pay cash, not really cash like I explained, but we're going to pay our employees $50,127.80. Okay, so we're going to cut checks because you should never pay your employees cash. Okay, we're going to cut checks or do a direct deposit to my employees for $50,127.80. Okay, remember, debits need to equal credits. Okay, debits need to equal credits. So just do a quick check and make sure that your debits equal credits, which they do. That way you are sure that your transaction is in balance. Okay, so in this particular part, the only change that we had from the top section was that we added that additional employee's disability contribution payable entry for the 1% based on the 62,100. That is the only difference between requirement A and requirement B, and that should be down here. Okay, B right here. Okay, so the only difference between requirement A and requirement B is that that entry right here. That is the only difference between those two. The OASDI and HI are the same. Federal income tax and state income tax are the same. The only thing that we incorporated was that additional entry for my disability insurance. Okay, so remember, the first entry is always used to record your actual payment of wages. Okay, this is where we withhold money from our employees' paychecks. The second entry is to record the payroll taxes that the company is responsible to pay for having those employees. So that is the expense for the company for having the employees. So on top of having to pay you for your wages, whatever I told you I was going to pay you, I also have to pay taxes on those wages. Okay, so I have to account for that as well. Okay, and these are the taxes that I am responsible to pay for having you as my employees. So I have to pay OASDI, HI, FUTA, and SUTA. Okay, so that is the end of the first problem that we're going to be covering. This is problem 6-5A. Please make sure that you read the problem carefully. There's a lot of information provided. Make sure that you understand the different taxable wages for the different taxes, the rates, the amounts. Read it very carefully. Don't browse through it too quickly. Okay, all of the calculations are included here in this exercise. That way you know how I figured out each of those numbers. Okay, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me. That is the end of this problem. Okay, I'll come back covering a different problem later on. Okay, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.